Hello, good morning for a Saturday, and a good morning from beer as well, obviously. As I said before in a previous video, I don't normally do comparisons, but in this video I'm going to do a comparison. I'm going to compare, and the one everybody's been waiting for, the Mont Marte and the Artechos. Let's see what the difference really is, if any. As I said in a previous video, there are times when a comparison does actually make sense. The reason I don't do comparisons normally is because you get silly comparisons. So I'm only going to do comparisons where they make sense. So, for example, in this case, the Artecho and the Mont Marte. I'm going to compare them, and because people numerous times have said that they believe they're coming out of the same factory and being processed and are exactly the same pastels, it makes sense for me to do a review and a comparison on them. So I'm going to do this objectively and then subjectively, and we'll see where we go with it. The comparison is going to have to be done in two separate stages. This will all make sense as we go on, so please stay tuned. So with both the Artecho and the Mont Marte, there are numerous sets of each. You can get just whites in Artechos, just whites in Mont Marte. You can get just fluorescents. I believe there's metallics. There's a 12 set, a 24 set, a 48 set, a 72 set, and there's exactly the same in the signatures. So that in itself does make you believe, well, they could be the same. But let's have a look on the back and see where they are made. They're made in China, the Artechos, and the Mont Marte say they are designed in Australia and made in China. So yes, they still could be made in the same place. Now what you have on the front, there is a slight difference here, is that the Artecho makes some bold claims, and quite rightly so in my opinion. They're oil-based, non-toxic, high-quality pigment, smooth texture, light-fast and vibrant colours, easy to blend and shade. Now yes, they are definitely all of those things. On the Mont Marte, they really only tell you that they're great colour blending and vibrant pigments, nothing else. So there's no mention of light fastness on them at all. Now that is strange in itself, because firstly it will tell you they don't come from the same place, because if they were light fast they would be bragging about it, wouldn't they? And secondly, the Mont Marte are actually probably about a third of the price more than the Artechos, probably nearly double in some cases. So that's quite unusual. You're getting a very good value from the Artechos for what they claim, and with the Mont Marte, not so good for what they claim. So that said, let's have a look on the back. And there's a colour chart. It tells you all the normal things. I don't need to go through all that about the colours and how they can be used with terps and canvases and all that. You don't need to know all that, because I'll just end up repeating myself. So let's have a look at the colours, shall we? Let's pick out some colours as we go along. We've got white, lemon yellow, yellow, yes, yes. But these have got numbers to them on the Artechos. So that's a vast difference again. Orange, yes. Tangerine, yes. Vermilion, yes. All the normal sort of colours. Let's go into some unusual colours. Azure, that's a blue colour. Now, do we have an azure in the Artechos? It doesn't appear that we do. Not in the 48s. These, must explain, these are the 48 sets that I'm comparing right now. So it doesn't say azure in the 48 set. Forest green. Do we have a forest green? Yes, we do have a forest green and an olive. Mint. Do we have a mint? Yes, we have a mint. So they're all pretty similar. Very similar, in fact. Salmon. Do we have a salmon? Yes, we have a salmon pink. Dark grey, Van Dyke brown. They're normal colours anyway. Peach. Let's have a look at peach. Yes, we have that. Moss green. Yes, we have that. So, as people have said, yes, the colours are very similar, or extremely similar, in fact. The only difference is that there are the odd colours that are different. So I've just noticed another one, cerise. I cannot see that in the Artechos. Fuchsia, I can't see that in the Mont Marte. And aqua blue, that's the same. Spelt differently though, haven't said that. Cerise. Seafoam, have we got a seafoam? Now that would be a very interesting one if we had exactly the same, wouldn't it? No, we don't have a seafoam in the Artechos. So there is some difference, but there is also many similarities. So let's have a look at the actual pastels themselves, shall we? I'm going to open my 72 set because the 42 set isn't open. Now, is there a difference in size? That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? If there's a difference in size, then you can say they're definitely different. No, they're identical in size. Yeah, identical. And they do have a similar coating on them, in that it's quite a glossy type coating. So they are very similar. In this set and the Artechos, all of the Artecho sets, you have plastic trays. The plastic trays are identical. So everything's looking towards the fact that they are the same pastels. But the truth will come in the blending, won't it? So for now, we're going to do these standard ones. I'm going to choose some similar colours and we're going to see if they blend the same. So we'll choose that one. Artecho, Mont Marte. Let's choose some contrasting colours, shall we? Artecho, Mont Marte, and Artecho, Mont Marte. Now there is a slight difference in the colours. Yes, there is a slight difference in them purples and there is a slight difference in these turquoises. So what I'm going to do, lay these Artechos down and by way of review, the Artechos are very firm, very smooth and very nice. They layer absolutely brilliantly. And they lay on the page brilliantly. So I'm now going to play on the Mont Marte. There is a slight variation in that colour. I'm not sure if it's the same colour name. Well, there is no colour name on the Mont Marte, but that is slightly different. It's a slightly duller colour. And the Mont Marte are actually feeling a little bit harder and not so silky. And they don't seem as if they're layering over quite as well. I mean, it is very minuscule. Well, they've laid over quite well on that one. So I'm now going to blend this together. And that's blending out a treat. That's blending out absolutely brilliantly, which is fully what I expected from the Artechos. Look at that, what a brilliant blend. So this is the Artechos we're blending out. And they are silky, smooth, very blendable. Very, very nice in fact. Way beyond, or they perform way beyond their price point. Way beyond. I absolutely love the Artechos. They are brilliant. Right, now let's do the Mont Marte. Now the cotton bud is not going over the oil pastel as well, if I'm being honest. It's smoothing out, but it's harder work. It seems like it's dragging over the oil pastel as opposed to blending it. However, they are blending out brilliantly. So there's not a lot of difference there. They both blend and they both layer very well. Let's see about the pilling. No pilling whatsoever. Fantastic. Now the Mont Marte. Again, no pilling. They feel quite good actually, both sets. So I have done a picture with these oil pastels and I'll show you each picture. There is a slight variation though, and I'm going to come to that in a minute when I go on to the second part of this. So what you get with Artechos is that you get standard colours, and they go all the way up to 120, and I have the 120 set here. Now you do not get any extra soft pastels. You get a lovely chart and everything, you get a colour chart, but you do not get any extra soft pastels with the Artechos. Alright, but what you do get is a fantastic array of pastels. I do wish though that they would change the metallics and the fluorescence. This whole tray here to me is quite a waste apart from the white. But, you know, on the whole, fantastic selection of greens, fantastic selection of reds, blues, browns. There's quite a few earth tones. It's a really, really nice set. But you do not get a soft set, you just get standard colours. Now this is where the biggest variation comes between Mont Marte and Artecho, in the fact that you get these extra soft sets. And in this you get a cardboard tray with a plastic tray inside of it, and that's exactly the same with the Artechos. So what we've got here is exactly the same sets, but these are extra soft. Now let's do a comparison to see what they blend like, shall we? We'll get that colour again. We'll get a similar colour, this one, and we'll get a purpley colour. They do not feel extra soft. They are softer and they are silkier. They feel more like the Artecho standards, maybe a tiny little bit softer though. And this one feels a little bit softer. Yes, there is a little bit of softness in that one. So let's blend that out. That's a lot better. So this is the Mont Marte Extra Soft. And that's blending out really nice. Let's have a look at the pilling on that. No pilling. Very smooth, very nice. So we've now done the blending, and pretty much on the whole there's hardly any difference. Even between the extra soft and the soft. The Mont Marte standards did seem a little bit more sticky in the fact that the cotton bud dragged over them and they seemed a little bit harder to blend. The Artecho seemed like a midpoint range between these, but these these comparisons are so minuscule that they're hardly even worth a mention, in all honesty, but I have to mention them to make this video right. There is a slight different variation in a few of the colours, not all. The labels feel the same, the trays are all the same, the packaging is pretty much the same. Artecho do boast of light fastness, and they do give you the standard that conforms to, whereas the Mont Marte are twice the price or even a third more of the price, and they give you no standard. So all in all, it's still inconclusive. I cannot tell you for certain. I have written to Mont Marte and I have written to Artecho and said to them, do they come out of the same factory? Are they the same oil pastels? And both will not answer. So I invite them to answer if any of their employees are watching this. Okay, so what's the conclusion? There isn't one. I would say objectively that they could very well come out of the same factory. There are too many similarities. However, there are some very strong dissimilarities. So it's kind of hard to tell. They've made it such that you cannot tell. I mean, like I said, we have the packaging the same. We have many of the colours the same, but a few not. We have one light fast, one not. The colours seem the same to blend to a point. The blending that I did could be subject to one set of pastels feeling a little bit colder than the other. It was that close that there could be just an element of coldness making that a little bit harder to blend. When I say that's hard to blend, I don't mean it's hard to blend, I just mean it was harder than the one that was easier. Anyway, it's hard to tell. The main difference is one says light fast, one has an extra soft set, and there's a few different colour variations in the extra soft set Mont Marte. So subjectively, which one would I choose? Well, in all honesty, I would choose the Artecho. And the reason I say that is because I've had, in my belief, an easier time with the Artechos. I've done a picture with the Mont Martes, as you've seen with my Tiger, and yes, it came out great, so I would not back off from using them. But I've also done a picture with the Artechos, and I found the Artechos easier to use for that particular picture. And it might be that I use the extra soft on the Tiger. Again, I cannot come to a full conclusion because the Tiger was a harder picture to do. There was many more complications in the Tiger picture than there was in the landscape. And also I used the extra soft. So I cannot give you a conclusion. I'm sorry about that. But my belief would be that it would not surprise me if they were coming from the same place. It may be that one company might be paying a little bit more just to have a little bit more on the packaging, i.e. light fastness. But it seems weird that the one that doesn't have that is the most expensive. I would suggest that either one of these oil pastels would be good for you to use. You would get professional results from both sets, and you would get a very good colour range for both sets. They all have the metallics and the fluorescence, which I don't agree with. I think that they should be sold separately to give proper artists a better choice. That's been quite interesting. I'm sorry I can't come up with a full answer. I'll try and find out. So until next time, whomever, wherever you are, please have a great day, great week and a great year, and please look after yourselves. Bye for now.